Hey everybody, welcome. Happy Saturday to you. My name is Jeff. I'm a full-time reseller trying to stay alive in this current environment. I have some thoughts. I've got a few what solds, not a whole lot. I just kind of want to talk about what I've been doing over the last couple days. But yeah, let's kind of jump right into it. So yesterday, I had a couple local sales. I sold a HEPA filter, and a while back I had tried to make the decision, like when buying things to resell, to try to focus a little bit more on things that people need, kind of like filters. And I sold some printer labels. I bought a bulk lot of printer labels for a pretty good price, and so I decided, since I had so many of them, that I would resell some of them to help recoup some of my costs for the labels. That's kind of how I think. Money out, money back, try to offset costs. It's like when you're buying a lot of items, you try to pick out a few things that is going to pay for everything and try to get them for that price, and then everything else is extra. Everything else is profit. I had this Brat doll in a lot. I think there were 3 other dolls, brand new, sealed, and then there was like a loose one. I think I had it listed for $90 for everything. And then, somebody contacted me, wanted to buy just one. And usually my thoughts on that is, actually, it just reminds me, I don't think I relisted it, is I'm totally okay with that as long as you make me an offer that makes it worth it for me to go ahead and break up the lot, because sometimes lots are more appealing if it has more, because people are already paying the shipping and handling. So the more they can get for their value, the better. But he basically made me an offer for $30 for one, which was a little more than the average of everything in there, considering there were 4 items. And so yeah, I'll do that. Especially in the climate that we're in, it's you just got to keep. And I had the wrong shipping and handling on there. So had somebody came along, I basically had the shipping and handling for just one of these on there. So had somebody come along and just bought it, I would have actually lost money on the shipping. So it probably would have cost me twice as much to ship it with what the shipping that I had on there. Actually, I probably didn't even have enough for the one, but yeah, so I sold that. I had I had a guy who had made me an offer on a couple magazines, a couple souvenir from Expo 86. These sold for $19. There were also some buttons. They're like a couple tiny little buttons that went along with it. They're downstairs somewhere. I didn't bring them up, but they're nothing special. So these just sold for $19 and change. Basically, the guy had made an offer a while ago, and somehow it expired. I never saw it. So then I messaged him back. I'm like, hey, I do have these. And then he took a long time to get back, and then he finally messaged me back, and we made the deal. I sold a couple comics. I literally just listed this the other day. This particular artist, J. Scott Campbell, used to be super, super hot. This is a variant. This sold for, I can't remember if it was $8 or $10. I think it was $10 that it sold for. I actually have multiple copies of that that I had picked up years ago. So I accepted that. And this was the big winner of everything that has sold. This was that comic that I had showed you guys. I picked up maybe three or 4 weeks ago, and it would have been like a $200 comic or more, but there was like a price sticker on here which caused a little bit of smudge when I took it off. So I paid, I think it was $2.50 for it, and it sold for $80. I accepted an offer. I had it listed for $100, and he came in and made an offer for $80. So I'm like, yeah, I'll do that. It's not perfect. And yesterday I went to the thrift store and I picked up some Nintendo 64 games. So, funny story is, where do I want to go with this? Actually, I'll come back to these because I want to talk about sell-through rates and stuff like that later. The Buzzcocks CD that I sold the other day that I showed you guys that was going to England, there were problems with that. And basically eBay, there were checkout problems, and eBay caused basically me to lose out on another sale. So what happened was I sent him the invoice, and then the next day, because when I sent it to him, he was sleeping. He basically messaged, he's like, I'm having problems. I'm getting an error message when I go to pay. I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, and we're messaging back and forth, and then somehow he sent a cancellation. He assumed that there was a problem. He assumed that there was a problem, that it was on his end, that he couldn't complete the transaction, so he was just like, you know what, let's just cancel it. But I messaged him and I go, hey, there's nothing wrong on my end. I sent you the invoice. Everything looks good on my end. Go ahead and try to pay. And if you still have issues, you might have to call eBay. Now, this is a problem because you never expect your buyer to take time out of their day to contact eBay on something that they're trying to purchase. It shouldn't be like that. Like, you will lose a sale like that 9 times out of 10, in my opinion. And then so I didn't hear back from him the next day. So then I called into eBay, and this is another issue. I called into eBay, put the call in. They called me back. Could not hear the guy whatsoever. There was this loud noise. It sounded like I was in a tunnel. And when I spoke, I could hear myself repeating what I had just said. So it was impossible. It was impossible to have a conversation. So he was like, okay, I'll call you back. Call me back. Same thing. I'm like, can you just, it's bad enough that I have to take time out to call eBay to try to fix this problem that's on their website. This is the second time in a couple weeks that this has happened. It's cost me a sale. Normally it's not that big of a deal, but when sales are at a premium already, it's a big deal. It's a problem. Let me know if any of you guys are experiencing anything like this. So then, second time, same issue, talking to the guy. I'm like, can you just transfer me to another department? Maybe, there's a better connection somewhere. He's like, well, let me try calling you one more time, and if not. So we hung up, and then I just never heard back from him. So I had to call in again, get somebody. They looked at it. They didn't see anything wrong. And so I was basically calling to say to the customer service rep, should I cancel the order, relist it, and send him the link, or is he still able to complete the purchase with a pending cancellation out there? And they're like, no, he should be able to do that. Let him know. And if he still has issues, then tell him to call me. So I did that. Basically I had to call eBay 3 times. And by the time all this was said and done, I get a response from the customer the very next day. He's like, you know what? He's like, I changed my mind. I don't want to buy it. So I have to believe that because of all, had he been able to complete the purchase the first time, that sale would have just gone through. So that's a bit of a problem. All right, I've got a couple comments that I want to share with you guys and get your opinions. I've got a few thoughts that I want to share. And okay, so I'll just start. So this one was from Dan San Frisco. I closed my 4-year-old Etsy store a few weeks ago, but I will support the sellers who remain. I am close to closing down my eBay presence as well. These marketplaces are full of back-end controlled manipulation and automation, nothing organic or scalable. For instance, the last 2 days, 0 sales on eBay. I average 1 small sale a day. Today around 12 p.m. my time, 2 small sales back to back within 3 minutes of each other. Like eBay was trying to get my averages back to normal, hit my daily limit of 2. Hit my daily limit of up to 2 individual sales a day and haven't had movement since. This was yesterday, this person posted this comment. You can't grow a business with limits being placed against you, and that is what online marketplaces appear to have become. It is sad and crazy to think that this would even be possible, but too many are seeing the same pattern for there not to be fire there. Conspiracy theory? Could the government be pushing these marketplaces to limit small sellers and allow big corporations to run free, thus pushing small sellers out? I am starting to wonder if this is in fact occurring. All these changes are not helping small businesses grow. They are preventing them from growing and scaling. Couple things in here. Like, I really want to get away from, you know, placing blame on eBay for slow sales, but it's really, really, really hard to not feel like they're the culprit, because so many people are having the same experience. So many, like, I just keep hearing story after story after story of people having these similar experiences. Long-term sellers who kind of know their niches, know what their stores do on an average, you know, over a period of time. Just kind of like know what feels normal and what the difference between something not feeling normal and then just, you know, it's a slow, it's the economy, right? Yeah, but I don't know what to do about this. I mean, and his conspiracy theory, it's not even a conspiracy theory that that it has to be the government that is doing this. Like, small sellers are getting squeezed. They're getting squeezed by higher fees. They're getting squeezed by the promoted listings, which I firmly believe is going to be devastating. It's going to take a huge toll on smaller sellers over time. And it's going to push them out. So yeah, we are going to be left with, you know, the bigger sellers that are able to survive out of this. It's like, I feel like eBay is not looking at the long game in this. And this is not my original thought, but I agree with the concept that a lot of this has to do with sell-through rates of stores. My sell-through rate is horrible because I have a lot of items. And it's getting worse. Like, my sell-through rate is getting worse and worse because it feels like eBay has changed something in the algorithm to reward small stores who have high sell-through rates. Like, if you watch certain resellers who really focus on high sell-through rates and have a smaller store, they're thriving. And it's like a snowball effect where it gains steam. The higher sell-through rates you have, the more higher placement you get in eBay, the more you sell through. But it hurts you the other way around if you have a big store and your sell-through rates are getting worse and worse because your items aren't being seen. Like, I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like my items just aren't being seen. I feel like I list them and they just kind of go out there. And every once in a while, somebody who's looking for the exact item that I'm offering, then they make a sale. And then at that time, I'm able to maybe, you know, let them know about my other store, and then they'll go over there and they'll buy something. But they never would have known about that had I not made that marketing effort. I feel like this is going to be a huge problem, and that eBay is not looking, because there's only X amount of high sell-through rate items. Like, there's so many other items that can be put up and listed on eBay for sale. But if it turns out down the road, if this is the way eBay is and those items aren't being sold, then there's really no point in selling them on eBay anymore, you know. And this will all work itself out. You know, whatever eBay is doing, it will cause sellers to pivot and to make changes, just like this one, where he's like, I'm very close to selling my eBay. I'm very close to closing my eBay store. I know a lot of people have left. A lot of people are cross-posting. A lot of people have just had enough. I myself, for example, I picked up some Nintendo 64 games yesterday. Now, these have high sell-through rates. I listed these two yesterday on eBay, and I also listed them locally. I got an offer for $24 for this one, and then I countered at 32. I think I had listed it at 40. The prices are all over the place for these kinds of games. And then I never heard back from him. I listed these at 5 p.m. and then my wife and I, we went to a party, like a family party where her uncle from the Philippines was visiting. We get there. I don't check my messages. I don't check anything for hours. I like at 10 p.m. that night, I checked and I had 8 messages of people who wanted to buy. I only had, what 2 did I have? I had these 2 listed. I only listed these 2. I didn't have time to list any of the other ones. But I had 8 people who were wanting to buy it. So, went back and forth, and I have a deal for a guy to buy these 2 today locally. So basically, I had already taken them down off of eBay. And then I upsold him on this one. So later on today, I have a pretty good sale with these 3. Now, if I come across an item like this that has really high sell-through rates or is a very desirable item, I would rather sell it locally than list it on eBay. I would rather avoid having to pay eBay those fees and to ship it and to do all that when I know I can just sell it locally. So like I'm never, unless it's an item that I think I'm gonna get like a massive premium on eBay, like I'm never gonna be that seller who goes out and buys items with high sell-through rates when I can just sell them locally. Because what ended up happening, the other 7 people who had messaged me about those, I'm like, hey, I've got a few more, and I'm working on a deal right now. I haven't priced them out. I think another guy's going to buy the other 3, and I actually ended up getting 2 of these Donkey Kongs. I already have another person who wants to buy these as well. So I could have listed these on eBay. Had eBay not basically pushed me to, really, really make a concentrated effort to sell things more locally, all of those would have been listed on eBay and sold on eBay, and they would have got a commission. But it's the short-sightedness of eBay, and I don't know. I could theorize. I could try to figure out why they're potential, and I don't even know if sell-through rate is the new metric that is essentially allowing people to get higher in search, and why we're seeing some sellers have really, really good sales and other sellers have really, really poor sales, but I have to believe that the majority, if you took 100 or 1,000 stores, how many of those stores, what percentage of those stores are stores that have like really high sell-through rates, and what percentage are ones that just kind of sell things and like part-time people who maybe aren't selling items that have the greatest sell-through rates? I have to say that the larger chunk of those people are people who have stores like, maybe not stores like mine, but not have stores, like have small stores that have high sell-through rates. And maybe I'm totally wrong on this. Maybe that's just my business model is outdated, and I will have to figure out what to do about that. Just some thoughts. Let me know what your guys' thoughts are. Let me know if you feel like sell-through rate is like the new buzzword, the new metric that eBay, it used to be list, have activity in your store and you'll see sales, but that's just not the case right now. So I have one more comment. And I don't have it. I took a picture of the wrong one. Or actually, wait, no, sorry. Yeah, this person was just saying that their sales are in a Juanita Williams 420. They were just saying that they've been selling for 5 years and they know where their sales should be on good days and bad days. My sales are in the toilet, has been since the middle of April. At this point, I'm done. I have reopened my Posh and Mercari store. Will keep my eBay store open for shits and giggles, but 90% of my efforts will now be focused outside of eBay. I've got bills to pay. And again, I'm just seeing tons and tons of people with sentiment and, action plans like this. It has to be a matter of time. It can only be a matter of time before this is going to impact eBay's bottom line. So I just don't know how much longer slow sales across the board for the majority of sellers cannot have a massive impact on eBay. I sold this was a book I got out of that esoteric Gnostic kind of book lot that I got. It's called Occult Exercises and Practices by Gareth Knight. It's from 1969. This sold for $25. I never even filed this away. I left this on my desk because I've been meaning to read it. Now I basically have to read it in the next couple days. I'm gonna delay shipment a little bit on this. He bought it late last night, so I've got a few days that I can ship this out. I need to read this. It's not very big, but you know, you just don't come across these books very often, and I definitely want to find out what I want to learn something. So I'm gonna read this, and then today, man, is this the only sale I've had today? Was an IKEA dog leash for $15. Well, and the local sale that I'm gonna have, and I'm working on a big sale of an art piece that I have, but I don't know. The guy's getting a little cold feet, but he is interested, and I'm trying to work with him on pricing. And that would, if that goes through, that would be the biggest thing that I ever sold. That would be super cool in a time where I definitely could use a bump up in sales, but don't really know if that's going to happen, so I don't really want to get too excited about that. Okay, I just want to show you guys something that I'm experiencing. It was kind of hard to explain in the comment section when somebody was asking me, you know how up here you get a notification when you get an offer? So something that I am finding, that when I send out offers and somebody counters an offer, so for example, right here, I don't know why I'm at there. This is a counter to my offer. I actually have to go into my messages to see these. So there will be like 6, 8, 9 hours go by that I don't actually go in my messages, because if I don't get a notification up here, then I don't really know to go in and check my messages. So this person has I didn't even know I sent this counter. Yeah, I'll accept that. I must have sent him a 10% off of that, and then they countered at 8. But not seeing that prompt, I don't understand why every other counter, every other offer that we get a notification up here. It should be the same for counters to my offers, but that's not the case for me. Is anybody else seeing that? And this was the other thing that I was telling you guys about, is when you click on respond now, here's the buyer's information, but it doesn't tell you where he's at. It doesn't tell you what location he is. So it could be either Canada or US for me, because those are the only two places where I ship to. I mean, actually, it could be if I sent an offer to someone international. I think if I sent an offer to somebody internationally, I think they're able to counter. I wouldn't know that it's an international. So this particular buyer, he's got some requests, which, you know, don't you just love? But so for me to know where he's at, because if he was in Canada and he wanted a box, I couldn't do that. That would bump it up into a ridiculous amount of shipping costs, and it is in Canada, so I just happened to check that. So now I can't accept that offer. It would be way too much. So yeah, so again, a couple glitches that should be easy fixes and make our lives as sellers a little bit easier, but no. Okay, I'm back because I have another issue that I want to share. And this just goes to show you that eBay doesn't actually, they don't consider all the things that sellers have to deal with. So this guy, I had to check that he's in Canada. Now, the thing about Canada is, let's say that I had, so Canada, you can't designate specific prices for specific provinces. For example, somebody who lives on the West Coast or some of the provinces out here, it's going to be so much cheaper than it is if it's going to go to Nova Scotia or New Brunswick. I mean, it is significantly expensive. Those vinyl figures that I sold a few days ago, if they were going to BC, they would have been like $8. They were going to the furthest east province in Canada, and it was actually a ridiculous amount. Like, it was like $23 to ship to there. It actually ate into some of my profits. But the thing is when you accept offers, so generally what I do is if it's a bigger item, I'll put like $15 or $20 shipping and handling, because I can't break it up, and just hope nobody from the East Coast buys. So it would actually be nice not only to know what country this particular buyer is from, but what province as well, because that would help me make a decision as to whether or not I'm going to accept an offer. It's little things like this, which it just goes to show you that, you know, many of these e-commerce websites, they don't look at the nuances of selling from the seller's perspective. It's like they get no input from sellers. Okay, I had a couple random thoughts that, you know, I'm the kind of person that I always want to see. I always like to offer ways that things can be better. Now, people have been snarky in their comments, and they're like, oh, if you think eBay is listening to you and that they're going to implement your changes, then you're delusional. Well, of course, yeah, I know that, but that doesn't mean that my own opinions aren't worth sharing. So I'm going to share. I was thinking one of the biggest complaints that we as sellers have on eBay is that we don't really feel heard. We feel diminished. We feel like eBay, and all sellers are treated the exact same. Mostly. It doesn't matter how big of a store you have. It doesn't matter how small of a store you have. It doesn't matter how many years you've been on the platform. You could be on 20 and you can be on a year, and you're essentially treated the same. And wouldn't it be nice? I mean, yes, these are all hopes and things that I think would benefit the platform. I'm interested to know what you guys think about this. If you've been on the platform, and again, these are just arbitrary numbers, 5, 10, 15, maybe it's once you've been on the platform 10 years and you've established a long track record, and you should get some sort of special privilege. Think about it. Think about what that would do. And the privilege could be any number of things. It could be you get access to a certain helpline to help solve your problems. That would do a couple things. And there are other things that you could get benefits from. You could get forgiveness for certain things or like defects on your account. I don't know. But think about this. If you have been on the platform and maybe they just go up, after 5 years, after 10 years, after 15 years, it would create brand loyalty for one. It would make you want to continue to sell on eBay. It would make you feel that you matter to eBay, that you're just not going to be, I can't speak for any of you guys, but I constantly worry that eBay is heading in a direction with Veros and defects and, the way they just, you hear horror stories about people just losing their stores. Like that is a recurring theme that a lot of sellers are genuinely worried about, and rightfully so, especially if they have invested everything that they have into building a business. It can be taken away from you in an instant's notice. So if eBay had some sort of loyalty, long-term appreciation outlook, just that, it would make sellers feel appreciated. It would make them be dedicated to the platform. It would change perspectives on it would I think it would be huge. Now obviously I don't think this is going to happen, but it should. Like these are things that we should think about. That sorry about that. Yeah, the other thing too is like, I don't know if you guys know this, but there is like a concierge line, and I don't know how you get it. I've been selling on eBay for 12 years. I just heard about this last month, that there is like a special concierge line that is available to certain people. I don't know how you get it. I don't know. I think it has to do with, you have to do a certain amount of volume. But I think things like that should be available, not necessarily depending on how much volume you have. And here's the other thing. The longer you have been on the platform, tell me if any of you have experienced this. You call into eBay, and if you've been on the platform for a number of years, you're well versed in eBay lingo, you're well versed in how things work. You get somebody on the phone, they're completely brand new, and you're teaching them. How is that? How does that make any sense? Like we're basically taking our time out. So the longer you've been on a platform, you should have access to more experienced users, because you have gone through all the problems. And so you don't need to speak with somebody who's brand new to where you're teaching them and you know more than them, right? Final thought I wanted to run by you guys is, there has been a lot of talk about how eBay has really missed the boat marketing to younger generation, the younger crowd. Now think about this for a minute. If they're not advertising to younger people, and younger people are not shopping on eBay, and that primarily a lot of the sales are coming from kind of like the older generation, well, think about where eBay is going to be in 25 years, right? I mean, I probably won't need to worry about it, because, you know, in 25 years, I'll be damn near 63 or 73. But if you're like 18, 19, 20, and you're thinking about doing eBay for a living, you know, building a business, by the time you're 40 or 45, eBay might be a ghost town in terms of buyers. Now, is it even worth, you know, it's probably not even worth, but it's, you know, this is, my mind just kind of thinks about things like this. I'm not a huge fan of what ifs, but I do like to, I don't know, maybe I am a huge fan of what ifs. So I think I'm going to end here. I think I've rambled enough, just giving you guys some insights into kind of like what I'm thinking, shared some experiences with you. Let me know how your sales are doing. Let me know if they feel normal. Are you getting a lot of offers to send to watchers? And I mean, I wouldn't say that I am, and it definitely feels weird the way the offers come in. Well, no, the ability for me to send offers. It feels like I'll get nothing, and then 2, and then nothing. And then, you know, nothing for a long time, and then 3. And it's weird, because you think that they wouldn't come in batches like that. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. If you're still here, please feed that YouTube algo. It helps me out tremendously. I would really appreciate it if you do find value in this video. If you don't. But yeah, always open to, you know, having exchanges in the comment section. I find a lot of value. A lot of you guys are super intelligent and know more than I do, and I really appreciate all of you. Take care, enjoy your weekend, and we will be back soon.